Hello, everybody, and welcome to the LFC Transfer Room live stream with myself, Neil, and Willem. Thank you guys so much for joining us. We do apologise that there was no stream yesterday, but I think everybody was not in the right mind to make a stream yesterday, purely because we had a fear that somebody would say something that would get us banned, purely from the anger that every single one of us felt, and I'm sure every one of you felt as well. Before we get into it, I just want to say thank you all for joining us. Please do leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already. And if you have done so, make sure you have the bell notification on for any future live streams and videos that we do, like this one. We're live every day from 7:30 in the evening UK time, unless something absolutely tragic like yesterday happens and we don't have it in us, essentially, to sit in front of a screen and just stare 1,000 miles away in silence. But that being said, we are here today, so I'll go over to my two panel guests with myself. Willem, how are you, my friend?
Yeah, good. Apart from the result, I did have a genuinely nice weekend, but obviously yesterday's game did bring up some questions about how life worked and if everything was supposed to go the way it was supposed to go, or at least if everything was still in a sane state of mind. But apart from that, it's been a pretty decent weekend. It's been pretty good. I can't complain. How about you guys?
Yeah, I'm good. I see it's all good for you, as you mentioned just before we started. You're over in Spain currently at the moment, so it's nice sunny weather for you. But I'm currently sat in Ireland, where the weather that we have currently at the moment was about as abysmal as the refereeing decisions that were there yesterday. So I woke up this morning in a pissed off mood. I looked outside my window and I was like, okay, this is going to be my mood for the day. So I've been stewing on this all day. So everybody's in for a treat. Neil, my friend, how are you today?
Yeah, I'm still not over it, to be honest. I had a disruptive night's sleep, and I can only put it down to the fact that it was bothering me. And then today we've had some visitors in my house, and two of them were Spurs fans, so that hasn't really done much to improve my mood, to be honest, because they seem to think that they were owed something like that yesterday because we got a handball against Sissoko in the 2019 Champions League final.
Yeah, with his hand out here like this. Like,
exactly,
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
just,
exactly.
fuck off. I'm sorry to curse, but just fuck
that's
off.
what they seem to think that they were owed.
Yeah,
like that, so.
we have to be sorry the rules were followed that day.
Exactly.
Really we're so sorry that the rules
bad.
were followed. Yeah. Get in the fucking sea. I'm sorry to curse. I'm going to apologize a lot about that now going forward.
I'm afraid a lot of us will do it today.
Yeah, I'm going to try and keep it as PG as I possibly can, but get in the fucking sea. I don't even know where to start. Please, everybody in the comments as well, this is a safe space. By all means, comment what you want and make your feelings known in the comment section. We'll get to as many of them as possible, because yesterday was just, honestly, and I'll get to this comparison in a moment as well, this was the worst officiated game I've ever seen since the Chelsea and Barcelona game in the Champions League back in the day. And I'll circle back to that point in a little bit. But thank you, everybody, for joining us. We've over nearly 30 people in here already, and we're only live 3 minutes. Thank you so much. Leave a like, leave a subscribe as well, and make sure you have the bell notification on too. But with that all done, I don't even know where to start. It's been tragic, to be perfectly honest with you. But I'll start with what we thought was the most egregious, and please do leave it in the comments as well, whatever you think was the most egregious. Neil, I'll go to yourself first. What was the most blatantly egregiously wrong decision that you've seen yesterday?
Well, I think it has to be the offside for DIAZ's goal. There's absolutely no excuse. Clearly onside, and even when you saw it without lines, just the freeze frame, you could clearly see that Romero's foot was closer to the goal than DIAZ was himself. There's no excuse for it, and they talk about an apology and whatever, and that they've been stood down for 2 games. What do we get from that? Absolutely nothing. So I'd like to see some kind of action taken, other than just the normal, because the international break's coming up, everyone will forget it, and those guys will all be back in the roles post international break. So I'd like to see something more done. So I think out of everything, I mean, that was just insulting, really. Would have been 1-0 up, would have been a different game. We may not have gone down to 9 men, and we could have been looking at 3 points. So yeah, 100%. That was the one that really annoyed me.
Yeah. Jay, before I go to yourself, Willem, I just have to say, Jen, thank you so much. This just it makes our day. It makes that result yesterday just sting that little bit less. As always, for your continued support, thank you so much. It's very much appreciated. It'll all go back into the channel, and hopefully it will help us make better content and more content for you guys, which is what we want to do. Again, Jen, thank you so much. It's very much appreciated for your £10 donation. Thank you so much. Willem, I'll divert the same question to yourself. What left you scratching your head yesterday?
I mean, obviously Neil already said it, where it's definitely obviously the goal and the line's not being drawn. But I actually, just to as well bring it to a different point, and I do think it's also quite a serious one to bring up onto. I actually have a massive problem with Curtis Jones getting a straight red, because in my opinion, if any of us, like even us playing normal footy, you know what happens if two of you go for a ball and you both even hit the ball from both going into it or wherever, and you know, one taps the ball away, and then yes, you get a little bit of the other. It happens. That's football. That's how it. And unfortunately, as much as we want to prevent injuries with how many games we're playing at the moment, there is no reason why Curtis Jones's tackle yesterday. Yes, if you put it in slow motion, and if you put it without context, and you put it without, like, you know, just like VAR did yesterday, only putting the still image of the tackle itself yesterday, then yeah, it's going to look horrendous. But I mean, like, honestly, these refs, they obviously haven't played football in their free time. That's the only thing it shows to me, because they obviously don't know what a 50-50 challenge is and what can happen from a 50-50 challenge. And that is just like, even with the second red card with Jota, like, okay, Jota shouldn't have gotten his first yellow, but Jota had a yellow, and he made a silly mistake, and he shouldn't have gone in for that foul that recklessly, and that got us the second red. I can live with that. I can accept that that's a fault from our side being made, and that shouldn't have been made. But that first red card immediately killed the game for us. Like, because that's the thing about it as well. There were no complaints about the officiating until the 25th minute, where Jones got sent off, and the ref himself gave it a yellow, which was fair. At the end of the day, it's an unfortunate tackle. You can give a yellow for it. That's all good. But never in my life is that a red card. I'm sorry, but I'm just not having it, because at the end of the day, it just shows that the refs, all they are doing is they are reading the rules according to the book of the law, how it is written down, and they're not using it in practice. They're not actually like getting any feel for the game, getting any sort of ways how to, like, just kind of knowing what really, because that's the other thing as well. He got sent off for serious foul play. How are you telling me that's serious foul play? I'm sorry, it's just not. It's just not. There's no foul intent whatsoever. It's a 50-50. His foot rolls over the ball. It's unfortunate. It goes into the ankle of Bissouma. Yes, you can give a yellow for it. I'm fine with that. That's okay. It's an unfortunate tackle, but it's never a red in my, like, just never. And that's just, again, that's the first thing that happened in the game. We've got so much else to talk about. And yeah, for me, that was already the beginning of it, where I was just thinking, what are we doing here? Because now, essentially from this, what you do is now every 50-50 challenge for the rest of this season, no matter what team is, no matter what anyone else is, if his foot rolls over the ball when he hits the ankle and the studs go in, means it has to be a red card now. That's the precedent they're setting for it. Yeah. And it's unacceptable. It's just not good.
Wild and Red, I do see what you're saying. It's not while over the ball with the studs up, but you're not looking at it with the context of the whole tackle. So it's a 50-50 ball. Both players are going for the ball. It is just as easy for Bissouma to put his foot over the ball and do the exact same thing and catch Curtis. It's a yellow card. We're not saying it's anything but a foul. It is 100% a foul, and it's 100% a booking, but it's nowhere near a red. The image that was shown to the referee on the day, Simon Hooper, was they stayed on the still image of the boot connecting with the ankle for a solid 10 seconds before then showing it in slow-mo. If you watch that in full speed, both players meet the ball at the same time, and both players play the ball. As the ball connected from Bissouma first, the foot went over. Jones's foot rolled over the ball due to physics and the two players coming together, and it hit the ankle. And it's not them the rules, they're the breaks. Because take a look at what happened today with Wissa getting absolutely cleaned out of it with a kick by the keeper. By them rules, then that's a penalty. And then later on in the game against Spurs, Joe Gomez was taken out in the box with an identical tackle that happened against Van Dijk and Isak against Newcastle. Van Dijk got a red card because it was a clear goal scoring opportunity. And the identical tackle happened against Joe Gomez. And it was in the penalty box. And we looked it up, and as well, the word of the law is on that. If the player goes through the opposing player while winning the ball or after or before winning the ball, if it's outside the box and it's a clear goal scoring opportunity, it's an immediate red card. If it's inside the box, it's a penalty and a yellow card. So purely from that alone, and if you want to go by the rules, that should have been a penalty and a yellow card straight away, but it wasn't called. It was an identical tackle. I actually have a list. I made a list of fucking everything that happened, and I'm going to read it out to everybody of these decisions. So Curtis Jones red. Yeah, go on.
Yeah, sorry. Can I just add on the Jones red card, because I think there's a lot that's gone on. I think all the ex-pros, none of them thought it was a red card, and for me that's an issue. That I think we've got referees that may not have played the game, sitting in a VAR studio, making decisions about things that they don't see, can happen in a game. So is there a case of having ex-pros sat in the VAR studio? The technology is not the issue. The people making decisions are. So that's one thing. The second thing is the refs giving him a yellow card, which I think everyone was okay with, because it ended up being quite a nasty challenge, even though it was unintentional. The tolerance level this season for things then being referred to the referee to go and look at the screen the bar has been really high, and it's taken, almost some real shocking tackle to get them to go to the screen. So secondly, they made them go to the screen, which has been different to the behaviours over recent weeks. And the third thing was, you could see it on TV when they got to the screen, it showed the worst part of the tackle, whereas really the start of the coverage should have been before the two players come together, and you see both players actually had their foot at the same height on either side of the ball, and then Jones's foot slipped over it. So there's many things wrong with that. And as I say, unless the people in the VAR room, I just don't think understand the game enough. And I think there is a case for sort of ex-pros being used in situations, because none of them, and even people that you wouldn't normally think would be supporting Liverpool were saying that's not a red card.
Because it's not just a Liverpool problem. That's the thing with it. It's not just a us problem. It's a whole league problem. Like this week it's us. Next week it could be someone else. Like at the end of the day, yes, we're the most frustrated because it's our team it's happened to. And it's obviously the result it impacts us directly and not the rest of it. But I mean, any rational football fan at the end of the day, no matter what team, can see what is right and what is wrong. And what happened yesterday is just blatantly wrong. That's what it comes down to at the end of the day. So, and it's more that we should be concerned about this as an overall level for football, and that is really the worrying part about it for me.
It's the completely worrying part about it for me as well. And I'll get onto the list in a second. But we've over 70 people in here at the moment, guys. Thank you all so much for joining us. We'll take a little bit of a break for a moment while I say this before we go back on our tirade again. But please do leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already. Make sure the bell notification is on so you get notified about all future streams and future videos. We're live from 7:30 every day of the week, from Monday to Saturday, and we even have post-game streams as well. Now, unfortunately, yesterday we didn't do one purely because we felt like we'd probably get banned for the stuff that we would have said on the live stream. That is the only reason that it didn't happen yesterday. And to be honest, if I was on yesterday, I'm pretty sure we would have gotten so many strikes against us that the channel would have been cancelled. So I think it's safer for everybody's well-being that we weren't on yesterday. But to the point both Neil and Willem were making, it's pure, the technology is there. It works in every other sport. It works in the NFL. It works in Major League Baseball. It works in the NBA. It works in rugby. Why can't it work for football? It's not the technology. It's down to the pure incompetence or corruption of the officials that are using it. And as Willem and yourself, Neil, said, it's people that have never played the game that have just gone and done a course and seen it on a page in front of them, being like, yes, that ticks that box. Yes, that ticks that. They're not looking at the context of the whole thing. When all of Twitter, all of footballing Twitter is in agreement with how badly that officiating was and how badly we were robbed, you know something's wrong. Every single fan base outside of Spurs, because they're just helmets, every single fan base agreed and said that we were robbed. That never happens. So we can't all be wrong. I have a list here of everything that went wrong. We have the Curtis Jones red card that we mentioned. The Luis Diaz offside is the most abhorrent bit of officiate that I've ever seen in my life. So to give everybody a bit of context, I'm not sure if anybody's even seen it. So what happened is the on-field decision was an offside. The flag went up, the on-field decision was an offside. What happened then is that Darren England, who was in the VAR room at the time, thought the on-field decision was a goal. That's why everybody's seen such a quick check at the VAR, because he was so blatantly onside, it didn't even need to be checked. Darren England then says, check complete, thinking the goal is going to be given, and then the on-field officials, thinking that their decision of offside was fine, then proceed to disallow the goal. My problem then comes in when there's 40 seconds of time between that decision being made and the free kick being taken, because after the free kick is taken from the offside, you can't go back and change the play. Now, in fairness, Howard Webb turned around and made them replay a game from the incident over in the US. But he is up Alex Ferguson's fart box so much I doubt we would get anything from him. But what makes this even worse, and this is something that we only found out after the game, Michael Oliver, Darren England, and his VAR team were officiating a game for a Saudi team on Thursday night. The Saudi team is owned by Mansour, and I let you guess who they own also, and it's not Man United. They then arrive back on Friday, begin officiating the game with us on Saturday, and we then proceed to witness the worst officiated game since the Barcelona and Chelsea game back in the Champions League. And what's funny about that is that Barcelona are now being charged with 17 years worth of bribery. And isn't it funny who coached both that Man City and Barcelona team? Now, it's only so many times something can be a coincidence before it becomes a fucking pattern. I'm not accusing anybody of anything, but I let everybody else put the dots together on that. There was so much that went wrong in this game. I have 2 pages worth of shit on it. One of the most egregious ones for me that I thought I couldn't understand it because it was shown on the replays. Pedro Porro, the prick who fired the shot across the goal that made the own goal go through. Andy Robertson was in the air and he's eyeing him up. He's looking dead at him while he's in the air, waiting to hit him, and then falls to the floor after catching an elbow, which he deserved. And then Andy Robertson gets clocked with an elbow then from somebody else, and Andy Robertson gets the yellow card. It just fucking boggles the mind. Like, as Jim Hughes, you're completely right. I don't believe in conspiracies either, but where there's smoke, there's fire. And I'd love to get the opinion of the 2 boys here as well. Neil, like that whole stuff with the lads over in Saudi Arabia for the team that is owned by Man City, after Man City going down and losing the game, and if Liverpool won, they go top, and then all of a sudden, coincidentally, we see the worst refereeing performance we've seen in a long time, and it also happens to be the coach that is under 115 financial regulation charges, and his previous team is under investigation and charged with 17 years worth of bribery towards referees. Do you think there's anything that connects this at all? Is there any smoke there at all, or am I just putting a tinfoil hat on and thinking crazy?
I'd like to think there's not, but I don't think they helped themselves in putting themselves in that position where they've gone out there on Thursday and officiated that game. And they've come back and arguably made one of the worst decisions that you're going to see since the introduction of VAR, maybe the worst decision. So, yeah, I'd like to think there's nothing in it, but I think they've put themselves in a pretty tricky position now, where they're having to justify why they were in the UAE on Thursday. It's it's now not just about explaining how they managed to get that so badly wrong and how they didn't manage to correct themselves quick enough to address the problem, but why were they involved in that on Thursday? It's another thing that's just adds to it, really. So as I say, yeah, I like to think the game is pure, but I think they've put themselves in a poor situation there.
I think so as well, and something that Rondo mentions here, and I wanna get at it because he says, "Come on, guys, it's not an LFC versus the refs thing. Many teams are getting bad calls. Don't go down the road. We won't win it if we need other clubs. We won't win it. We need other clubs united for this." I 100% agree with you. We need other clubs united for this. But the problem is that ever since Jurgen Klopp turned around and called out Paul Tierney, we've not been getting the calls, and there's been statistics and everything done on it, and the expected yellow cards that's against us is actually the expected bookings against us is actually 3 times less than what we're actually getting. So if we're expected to get 1 yellow card in a game, we're ending up getting 2, 3, or 4, and it's case in point of the inconsistency. There was Alexis McAllister. I don't know if it was the Bournemouth game or if it was the Newcastle game, but he asked for a yellow card. He asked for a booking, and the referees were stamping this out. Chelsea, apologies. Yeah. Referees are stamping this out. Udogie falls to the ground after Jota's first yellow card, after tripping himself up, and starts asking for a booking. He's already on a yellow card. He should have been sent off. By the letter of the law, he should have been sent off. It's so many inconsistencies, and it just so happens to always happen to the team that is about to go and pip City. I have not seen any of these decisions go against City. They have directly or indirectly benefited from all of these. Spurs game last year, and I'll get on to yourself in a second, Willem. Spurs game when we were going for the quadruple. Harry Kane butchers Andy Robertson. Not even a card. We draw that game. And we lose by a point. We lose the league title by a point. We could have won the treble. The domestic treble, that is. But we lost the league by 1 point. And that was late in the season as well. But Harry Kane, the saviour that he is, no yellow card. And Neil mentioned before the stream as well that Jota was pushed down in the box and should have gotten a penalty for that. I wouldn't mind if we were all in the shit together. But we're not. There is a blatant bias, and the simple fact that there was 40 seconds between the DIAZ goal and the free kick being taken, and not one person looked at the scoreboard and thought, hold on a minute, there should be a goal. I said goal. There should be a goal. What are you doing? And nobody said a word. There's this. Sorry, Willem. I'll get to you in a minute. I'm just ranting here. There's a particular image of Simon Hooper in the game where after the free kick has been taken, you can tell somebody's speaking in his ear and his face just goes white. He looks like he's seen a ghost. He's just been told about the fuck up. I have no words. It's absolutely shocking. Willem, do you think I just have a tinfoil hat on here and I'm just spouting nonsense?
I don't at all, because coming back to that point, about it basically actually relating to the statement PG Moore put out, where they went, it's VAR didn't intervene correctly. I refuse to believe that the person who's sitting at VAR duties knows from the 35th minute onwards that we should have had a goal that should have been allowed, and he just let it go out and he went, I didn't catch it into the moment. There's no rule where you have to take a certain amount of time to review something or to really look after something. And that decision yesterday got made. So some people said 40 seconds, but honestly, I don't even believe that. For me, it was 10 seconds and boom, we already had to move on. It was crazy. Nothing got looked at properly. Like, we got still image. We didn't even get the line for the offside. And then boom, onwards and free kick taken and it has to go through. So I refuse to believe that someone in that position is sitting on their own conscience and sitting on their own, the way that they see something or that they know they've gotten an error and they sit on it and be quiet about it for an hour to an hour and a half later onwards. No, there's no chance. There's absolutely not. I'm just not having that. there's obviously something a little bit more fishy going into about it. That's how I feel about it as well. I'm not the guy to put his tinfoil hat on, but today I've had it on. I've had it on all day, and to be honest, for me, it's not even the because it wasn't Saudi, it's Abu Dhabi where they had the referee in, I don't know, course or game or whatever they had a couple of days ago, where they had it over there. And even though that is the country of cities owners, and it's in relation to the week of the Negreira scandal with Barcelona here in Spain, which was also, obviously managed under Guardiola. I actually don't think it has much to do with that. I think it's more to do with the fact I've not seen any country, unlike England, protect their referees the way they do. And it's a disgrace, because ever since Klopp called out Paul Tierney, we have been getting ridiculous, but absolutely ridiculous calls going against us. And now it's to the point as well where it's not, to me, it doesn't feel as if they're trying to hide anything anymore. It just feels like, look, mate, you've overstepped your line. You've said this about our guy. We're going to be standing up for our guy now. So take that. Because as well, the other things with it, how have we gone from, 6 red cards in 7 or 8 years to getting 4 red cards in 7 games, where arguably 3 of the 4, the only one I could say, all right, fair enough, I'll hold my hands up. You can keep that one. It is what it is the Van Dijk against Newcastle. McAllister against Bournemouth finally got rescinded because it shouldn't have been so. Curtis yesterday was never a red card. Jota yesterday should have never had the first yellow card. Again, yes, second foul, silly. Shouldn't have gotten a yellow card for that. But again, should never been in the position where he had his first yellow anyway. And we're just getting it. And honestly, even before Jota got his booking, it looked like Simon Hooper had a bet going like, how many Liverpool players can I book to then, to get my account?
He had the over on the yellow cards. I'm convinced.
Well, he must have. It was mad. It was crazy. That's the whole thing with it. And that's, so it's not even as much the more City-related side of the conspiracy, to put it in that way, that's actually getting me. It's more that for once we chose to really properly speak out against the referees last year, in the meantime, they've put in a system where now, doesn't matter if you're the manager, doesn't matter if you're the players, doesn't matter if you're anything, you're getting a minimum fine of 25k. And as much as you earn $1 million, trust me, you don't want to spend 25k on just being able to speak your mind on the thing. That's why Klopp said yesterday, he goes, look, for you it's funny, but for me it's expensive. I'm not doing it. It's just not worth it. And because at the end of the day, the one positive I think we could all take from it, the performance yesterday from the boys was still immense. And but yeah, for me it's just more that I'm afraid that Klopp speaking out against Paul Tierney and against the linesman who elbowed Robbo at the time, or because I think it was the same game when it happened. Like, I think that's what's come and cost us now. I think genuinely PG Ball have looked at it. I mean, for God's sake, Howard Webb is in charge. The man who had a Facebook page with Old Trafford as his background picture on his Facebook profile. Like, come on, man. That's where I'm more looking at it going, hold on, something's not right here. Other than the Abu Dhabi stuff and the Barca scandal stuff and everything. Yes, it's in relation to the manager of our top rival, but it's not. It's actually not the thing that I'm looking at most of where they're trying to get us. I think because we stood our foot firm and because we decided to speak our mind against it, we're getting now punished for it. And that's unfortunately the real reason I think why we're getting all these decisions going against us.
Yeah, I agree with you. And as Marco Polo points out to your point, 5 fair play awards in 5 years, and I believe until the start of this season there was 1 red card last year with Nunes. More to your point earlier, Wild and Red and Rondo as well, where you mentioned earlier about us maybe just complaining a little bit. There's the proof. We've had 5 fair play awards in the past 5 years, and now all of a sudden we get 4 red cards, 3 of which were questionable, and 1 of which, fair enough, red card. Van Dijk's red card is a red card. But if you want to pull that shit, the tackle on Joe Gomez was a penalty. By the same word of the law, that was a penalty. If we were all getting officiated the same way, I would have 0 complaints because we would all be complaining about it. But because we're not, something has to be said. And as you mentioned, Willem, these guys are getting fined. It's infallibility. We're wrong, but you can't say anything about it because we fine you and ban you. Jordan Pickford called the ref a prick and nothing was done. Virgil van Dijk said, you're a fucking joke, and gets banned on $100,000 fine. And it's on video that being happening. So there's clearly bias. Like, I don't understand what people are conflicted about here. And the only people that are not on our side are Spurs fans. It's nuts. Before I get on to the next point, I do want to say thank you so much. There's over just about 140 people in here at the moment. Please do like and subscribe. If you haven't done so already, please make sure to hit the notification button. We're nearly on 150 now. So please make sure to like and subscribe. Please make sure to hit the notification button and make sure to share this video as well with anybody that you can. Please get it out there, because fuck staying quiet anymore. And I'm sorry for cursing again. But
can I just add something?
Yeah,
go on the offside decision, that there needs to be something done in terms of the way that the communication's handled between the on-field officials and the VAR room. So I think I was listening to someone earlier today. So VAR in other sports, rugby, cricket, you get to hear what they say. So
yeah,
why can we not hear that?
They've done that in Australia. They've done it with a referee in Australia, and you heard every decision, and you're like, okay, I can see why he made that decision. I can see that.
Exactly. So that the lack of transparency there obviously makes people suspicious, and I understand it. But there was another point made, I think I heard it on the radio this morning, that the confirmation that goes back from the VAR room to the on-field officials is check complete. It doesn't say, like it does
what
I
the
think
check
in
was
rugby,
for.
that exactly. So in rugby, I believe they will say yes, try should be awarded, or no, try should not be awarded. So at the very, very least, there has to be a statement, another statement that comes from them to say, we think our communication procedures are not robust enough, and we're going to improve them in this ways. Ideally, you get to hear the conversation. I'd love them to release this conversation, but I don't think they will. And I'm not entirely sure about their story, because they're saying that they thought the goal had been allowed. If I remember rightly, on the scoreboard, it flashed up checking disallowed goal. So that's not. I don't think
possible. It said check and disallowed goal offside. Yeah. That's what came up on the screen.
That would be.
It also said serious foul play with Curtis, and it wasn't serious foul play. Like, making up anything as it goes.
Yeah. So, as I say, I think the communication, if they're not going to be transparent and let everyone hear what's being said, they need to come up with something to make their communication techniques more robust, because that's just unacceptable.
I 100% agree with you. And in my own opinion, if that is their story and they say VAR thought it was a goal, on field called it offside, that's fine. Look, I can live with that human error. That's 100% fine. If that is what happened, look, fuck it. There's nothing we can do about it now. If that's what happened, fine. I live with it. Be transparent and release the audio, because I guarantee you they won't release the audio. Until they release the audio, I have my tinfoil hat on and I'm calling corruption. That is simply that. And even if they release that audio, I'll still smell shit, to be perfectly honest with you. It's absolutely bonkers. In rugby, you can hear the ref at all times. The way the communication works on any other audio that they've released is so the VAR can hear the ref, but the ref can't hear the VAR until they like click a button and they're like, they'll be like Simon or whoever it is on the pitch. That's essentially it. And so the VAR can hear the discussions between the lino and they can hear the discussions between the ref. The second that flag goes up by the lino, he's going to say offside. We've seen it happen before. He doesn't just throw the flag up and say nothing, because he has to say it to the referee. And that communication is heard by VAR. So how he missed that communication, it being on the screen for checking checking goal offside or checking disallowed goal offside, and then not awarding the goal and not seeing the scoreboard change, it just screams bullshit. There's way too many coincidences for it.
Yeah, and if it's true, they're saying that he was 62 centimeters onside. So what does that say about the assistant referee's decision making? And as I think someone's just put it in the chat, he raised his flag rather than let him play run. So that's over half a meter. What does it say about the whole situation? It's just poor.
It's nuts. David, I'm sorry, you've put this in the chat a couple of times. Hi, Stephen, Neil, and Willem. Howard Webb should take Jota's and Jones's red cards away to make up for it, because they're not going to replay this and they're not going to give a point. What does everybody think? I'd I'd like to say that's going to happen, but to be perfectly honest with you, I think they're just going to take the game because the next game is against Brighton. The next Premier League game is against Brighton. It wouldn't shock me if they appeal it, but I think the PGMOL is going to stick to their guns and they're going to tell us to get fucked, basically, and they're going to keep them banned for the game, which is why I think Curtis Jones and Diogo Jota are going to start against Union SG midweek, and God, I pity them so much. I feel so sorry for them. They're about to get absolutely bent over a barrel and fisted, and I feel so sorry for them because it's not their fault. And poor Brighton next weekend are going to get absolutely battered as well. It's from what I seen and everybody coming off that pitch on Saturday, it's kind of like okay, yeah, that's the way you want to play it. Cool, no problem. We'll play it that way. That's the way you guys want to play it, and you want to put the referees against us, and we're playing 12 against 11 every week. That's fine. We'll still beat you. And what's hilarious about it is Spurs didn't look like the better team when they were 2 men up. They still didn't. It took a freak own goal for them to get any points out of this game. I say any points, to get a victory out of this game. It's shocking. It's absolutely fucking shocking. I'll just go to some of the comments that I've started here. David, I've gotten to your ones there. Hey, Ora, just want your one here. I've missed this completely, Jen. I do apologize. Thank you so much for being a member for 13 months. It's absolutely fantastic. We always appreciate the support. And I do agree with you. VAR and the corrupt officials. And it's not the technology, it's the people using it. But Heller mentioned something here. And I ask again, are they really this stupid in England? Is it possible, or is this corruption? I heard something the other day that would lead to the latter point that you're making, or the former point that you're making there, if they're that stupid. Never account malice to something that could be attributed to pure ignorance and incompetency. That's fine if it's once or twice, but this is constant. And that's the main issue that I have here. And just even John Henry agrees with us that if we'd stayed at 10 men, we would have bet them. I can guarantee you Darwin Núñez would have came on at the end of that game and smashed 2 past them. 100%. It just boggles the mind. Something that I actually want to post to both Willem and Neil in this is, I'm not sure if you heard Ange's comments after the game. Boy, I lost a lot of respect for him. Oh, what an uppity little prick he was. I've lost so much respect for him from that comment. Wasn't 6 days ago that he was bitching about Romero's handball, but now when it suits them, it's, there's errors in the game. Neil, give me a couple of your thoughts on Ange's comments if you heard them at all.
Yeah, I mean, they're all gonna use the narrative to suit themselves based on the situations that occur for their teams. Now, handballs are fairly, they are subjective, whereas offside was not meant to be. We were told that they could not possibly get an offside decision wrong, and I think the reliability of VAR on offsides now is under massive scrutiny. So I don't agree with his comments because, as I say, for handball, you can argue it fouls the same, but for offsides, there was said to be no tolerance whatsoever, no room for it being incorrect, and now that's been proved wrong. So yeah, you know what they're like in these press conferences after games. They'll say stuff to back their own teams, but it stunk a bit for me because, as I say, they've always been clear that offsides is an out of play. Goal line technology are the two things that are robust, and there would be no errors.
Yeah, it just boggles the mind, and we do find ourselves getting lost for words, and we do end up getting riled up here in this. But Willem, his comments, Ange Postecoglou's comments, they just have some fucking integrity and just admit you were gifted a game.
Honestly, mate, I don't care at the end of the day because, like Neil said, these managers are going to say anything to at least get some form of. They know obviously how the game's gone through, and let's be honest there. We've definitely in the past 5-6 seasons we've had a game once or twice when it's gone our way where even maybe we could question ourselves, going, how did we get that one out of the bag? And it does happen. So I can't really blame him because at the end of the day, I think even me as in a managerial position, and if I somehow got a win knowing my team got battered with 9, playing against 9 men, or not battered, but struggling to even get a result out of playing against 9 men, and at least getting it at the end, I think that's all I'd be banking on at that point as well. So I really don't look into it that much. But I mean, to be fair, I think I'm also the wrong person to add for it, because last week I was on the stream as well with Antonio's comments, and I just said, look, whatever Antonio wants to say, he can say. He can just go on the background and yap on, and and just keep running his mouth whilst nothing's going to happen. And at the end of the day, look, Tottenham have improved a lot, but let's be honest here. Do we think Tottenham's better than us?
No.
Any of us? Like, even looking at it yesterday from the first 25 minutes, going 11 against 11? No. I think, actually, I'm extremely confident saying, with that game have remained 11 against 11, I say we get a comfortable 2-0 win, 3-0 win even, maybe. I think it would have been completely fine. So, again, I don't even blame Spurs. Go ahead, enjoy it. Enjoy your moment. You've been... they've had so many issues as well. They've had this whole thing going against them. Go ahead for it. Because, to be honest, genuinely, I don't think we can even blame Spurs for that game. It's just all down to the refereeing and PG mode for that one. So that's why let Ange say what he wants to say. He's not my manager. It's not my club. All right, that's completely fine. But yeah, I don't know if I would have said the same thing. No, I wouldn't have said the same thing. Obviously not. I'm quite a realist when it comes down to it. I'll call it as it is. But I can get his point of view of trying to twist it his way to make it look good for the team as well and keep that mentality in for Tottenham as well. So I would say that's fine, and that's not where my anger lies. To be fair,
yeah, it's just for me. I guess it's just an integrity thing. Like it is like I'm fine to admit when we've gotten away with one, because as you said, it happens. But admit it. Be like, look, I don't see how that could have been a red card. I don't see how that could have been a red card. That was harsh. They've been done wrong today by the officials. They've had a hard time. Even something to that effect. Because 6 days ago, he was bitching about a handball. Oh, it does boggle the mind. Before I move on to the next point, because we have a statement from Liverpool I'm going to read out here now. Neil just let me know about it. Thank you, Neil. We've nearly 200 people in here with us at the moment. Biggest stream that we've had ever since the season started. So please do make sure to leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already. Make sure the bell notification is on for all of your future videos and all of our future live streams. We're live from 7:30 every day UK time. Yesterday we weren't live purely because we were so pissed off. We would have gotten the channel banned from what we said. It would have just been an angry shouting match. It would have been like that guy on TikTok that's the Chelsea fan that has his shirt off and just starts roaring and shouting. That would have been me, essentially. But I have the statement here and I'm going to read it out. So, Liverpool Football Club acknowledges PGMOL's admission of their failures last night. It is clear that the correct application of the laws of the game did not occur, resulting in sporting integrity being undermined. We fully accept the pressures that the match officials work under, but these pressures are supposed to be alleviated, not exacerbated, by the existence and implementation of VAR. It is therefore unsatisfactory that sufficient time was not afforded to allow the correct decision to be made and that there was no subsequent intervention. That such failings have already been categorized as significant human error is also unacceptable. Any and all outcomes should be established only by the review and with full transparency. This is vital for the reliability of future decision-making as it applies to all clubs, with learnings being used to make improvements to processes in order to ensure this kind of situation does not occur again. In the meantime, we will explore the range of options available given the clear need for escalation and resolution. That last line reads to me like we're getting lawyers involved. That is genuinely what that sounds like. So expect this to be a long fight. And Wild and Red, I agree with you. That is a fantastic statement by the club. They have backed the club. The owners have come out and cleared that statement, and the PR team have cleared that statement. They have backed the club, and they have said this was wrong. And it's about goddamn time, because this was wrong, and it's absolutely fantastic to see. And I cannot wait for the outcome to this. And as Che mentions it here as well. In the meantime, we will explore the range of options available, given the clear need for escalation and resolution. This is going to be legal action, and I cannot wait for it, because this will, and I said it in the group chat yesterday, this will be the straw that breaks the camel's back. And this is exactly what I thought was going to happen, because there was rumors yesterday, and I know we make fun of him, but Indy Kalia on Twitter said that there was possibility that Liverpool were getting lawyers involved, and he's been right about a lot of things this summer. We do make fun of him, but he's been right about a lot of things this summer, and I can't help but think that he's right. There's no smoke without fire. we've talked enough about what happened to us in the game. So for the last 15 or so minutes, I want to talk about our performance, because I've never been prouder of a Liverpool team in my life, outside of the 2005 Champions League final, for a performance that they've put in on the pitch. And one thing that I do want to say is that Joel Matip deserves no hate. Joel Matip put in an absolute shift in that game, and it was by pure piss luck that an own goal came in against him. And I'll throw it over to my panel mates, and I'll ask everybody in the chat as well. Neil, I'll start with yourself. Give me your man of the match for that game.
It's a difficult one, because obviously circumstances continue to change, and I think you'd have to go with someone who was keeping them out. I wouldn't say they were knocking on the door every minute, because they played in front of us quite a lot. You know, they didn't realise until the very last minute that they needed to get the ball wide to actually cause us problems. So the chances that they did have came quite early in the second half, and I think Alisson made 2 fantastic saves. So I'd probably go with him. But I thought that Joe Gomez was good again. I thought Virgil van Dijk was very good, and I thought Joel Matip was excellent as well. But I think Alisson he's just different class. So
it's different gravy, man.
So I would, as I say, that their threat, they had those 2 shots, and then we kept them pretty much at arm's length until the last few minutes when they realised that they needed to get the ball wide. But I think for those 2 saves, I'd probably go with Alisson.
Yeah, I'd agree with you. Alisson for me was up there. I'd put Szoboszlai up there as well. Put in another massive shift. I thought Curtis Jones played well up until that debacle. Jimmy's, the statement that I just read out is from the LFC website itself, so that's them. Justin Ulysses mentions that there was another statement released on the Echo. If somebody can check that for me and see, an SOS statement released on the Echo is what he mentioned. I thought Joel Matip played a blinder, genuine man of the match performance. He had Son in his pocket. Joe Gomez had a great game again. I thought who else did I think? I thought Cody Gakpo, just poor luck. Mo Salah was just again another one. Jota, I didn't think had the greatest of games, to be honest with you. I'm trying to think of who else. Luis Diaz played a blinder. I could not fault him. It's and as James mentions here, we controlled them without the ball with 9 men. Every single Liverpool player left blood, sweat, and tears on that pitch, and I can't fault any single one of them, to be perfectly honest with you. The only fault I'd have, and I'll throw it over to yourself, Willem, for your opinion in a minute. The only fault that I had was Jota with the silly second tackle. That was it. Outside of that, the fact that we basically nearly stole a point with 9 men is astounding, and it speaks volumes of the quality of this team and the fight in this team. And you could see it when Jurgen Klopp brought Ryan Gravenberch on and shouted at him and did the heart symbol on his heart, play with heart. This team is serious, man. And I think this is the kick in the teeth that we need to absolutely go on a dominate and run. I reckon we win the next 10, 15 games. I don't think we lose a game until after Christmas, to be perfectly honest with you. But Willem, please give me a couple of your thoughts on who impressed you and who you thought was your man of the match.
For me, actually, I was actually close to giving it to Matip until the own goal area, but now looking back on it and looking back at just the overall whole game and how immense he was. Look, Ali's a 10 out of 10 any week at this point. Alisson is far and away, in a Liverpool shirt, the best goalkeeper I've ever witnessed in my life. He's unbelievable. Just every week, it even staggers me that every week he manages to get us to think he's even better than what we thought he was, and we already think he's the best in the world. Like, he's unbelievable. But for me yesterday, actually, the man who I thought was absolutely imperious at the back in the way how he organised the whole back line from his side, because in the first goal, I'm not going to lie, Joe Gomez played a really good game, but Joe Gomez did get caught out for the first goal, in my opinion at least. But I thought Virg was immense yesterday.
Yeah.
I thought it was a throwback, like classic Virgil van Dijk performance of this backline is mine. I've got it. I've genuinely got it under control. I know what I'm doing. Like, honestly, apart from when Matip's own goal happened and Porro put in the cross, and that's where it went in. That left-hand side with Robbo and with Van Dijk had everything sharp. It was unbelievable. It was really, really good. And it's also really encouraging because, again, with Virgil as well, he hasn't always been at his best in the last 18 months. And, there's been some questions about him after the injury. And for him to really put down his marker again like that and also just really show still who he is, for me, that was as well immense yesterday. Just seeing how Van Dijk was at it. Again, down to 9 men, I can't... Honestly, if we would have gotten a draw today and we would have had to do some form of a proper player rating, I would have given everyone a 10. Because at this point, we were playing against everyone and everybody, and we would have still gotten a point out of it, gone with 9 men. So everyone, in my opinion, would have gotten it at that point. But, for me, man of the match was definitely Van Dijk. I thought he was superb yesterday. Again, Alisson is number 2. I'd even put Matip number 3. But, yeah, Alisson... I think we give Alisson so much praise every week, and I don't think we've actually been doing it lately with Van Dijk that much when he does deserve it. And I think for yesterday, even though we lost and we didn't get the result, I thought he was immense again yesterday.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. To be honest, somebody put it in the comments there. I'll see if I can find it again. It was a team man of the match. There's Rondo. It was a team man of the match performance. I couldn't fault anybody there. They just played with so much heart, and it was great. And Paul Goulding actually has probably won best comment of this stream so far. If anybody's wondering where our beloved Kev is, there you go. That's where Kev is. Thank you, Paul. We all kind of needed that bit of a giggle. I appreciate it. Thank you so much for that. But there's, again, as Jamie was mentioned, nearly 200 people here watching, guys. We have another about 10-15 minutes to go before we finish up, and we all go into our therapy sessions for the week. Please do like and subscribe if you haven't already. If you have already, make sure you have the bell notification on for all of our future streams and all of our future videos. It really helps out the channel, and we cannot thank you enough for it. I really don't know where to go from here, to be honest. Did anybody find that, Justin? I can't see the link that you said that you shared. It's not in the comments. Neil, you weren't able to find it, or William, you weren't able to find it, that SOS article on the Echo?
I didn't look either. I'm not gonna lie. But
I see they have reported on the statement, but I didn't see anything.
I didn't see a separate statement or anything. I saw the statements before. I checked, but that was it.
Justin, if you can find it, even put a snippet of it in here, and we'll see if we can look at it and read it out. Because I looked and I can't see anything on the Echo. Now,
I think I might have got it. Let me just put it in the things, Stephen, then you can.
Yeah, if you wouldn't mind, and I'll read it out here because it needs to. If it's a statement, it needs to be said. Telling you, double breaking news today. We do love it. The Liverpool Echo. I was probably looking on the wrong Echo, but okay, here we go. We have it here. I am looking at it now. Spirit of Shankly issued explosive statement in Liverpool response to VAR controversy. You're not fit to referee is what was put out. So Spirit of Shankly has called for drastic changes to how football is officiated after Liverpool's controversial 2-1 loss to Tottenham Hotspur. The Reds finished the game. We both know what everything happened. So I want to see if I can find the statement here of anything that it says. Titled, "You're not fit to referee," they wrote, "A terrorist refrain knocking about in one guise or another since the days of the football special. Officials make mistakes. Every one of us makes those. But to limit them on the football field, we have VAR. The introduction of the technology is a backup to erase the in-the-moment human error, yet we get decisions like that were made on Saturday against Tottenham Hotspur in Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Shortly after full-time, PGMOL issued a statement a significant human error occurred. It said, a clear and obvious factual error. PGMOL will conduct a full review into the circumstances that led to the error. VAR officials are a team. Why didn't one of them spot the error and overrule the decision? Where's the consistency? Where are the lines? The lines we see drawn with every debatable goal. Where was the communication? VAR thought the goal had been given on the pitch, so for them, check complete, affirmed it. But that was the opposite, and the referee assumed his original decision of no goal was correct. VAR and the PGMOL are blatantly not fit for purpose." I don't think they mean the actual VAR technology itself, but more so the actual people sitting and watching it. There needs to be an investigation, but to what end? This isn't about individuals, it's about the process. And it is not the first time an apology has been given this season. Wolves' non-penalty at Manchester United, a season not yet 2 months old. Any trust in the process has gone. I completely agree with them there. So where do we go from here? The practice of VAR has to be clear. Protocol set for offside, cards, time-wasting images and replays standardized so that all involved knows what needs to be done. A semi-automated system is required, as used in the Champions League in the last World Cup, but was vetoed by Premier League clubs at the start of the season to remove human error so subjective decisions are overruled. But because such decisions can have huge consequences. As we pointed out, a decision against us 2 years ago when we were on for the quad that could have led to us winning the domestic treble didn't come to pass because Harry Kane, the English captain, went through Andy Robertson and not a thing was said about it. But
and VAR didn't call Rodri's handball against Everton that season.
And
I remember
that one too.
well.
Yeah. Funny how it benefits City, isn't it? Funny that seems to be the only team that either benefits directly or indirectly from it.
It just comes down to the same issue I said before, though. I've never seen a country like England protect their referees in the way that compared to the rest of the world.
They actually
it just comes down to that.
Yeah, it says the PGMOL should not be able to police themselves. An independent group needs to be set up and the audio from yesterday released to stop accusations of corrupt officials that will otherwise continue to grow. It goes on to say more, guys. It's on the Liverpool Echo. It's the Spirit of Shankly that have done it, and I have no faults. I have no notes for that article. It is 100% correct. There's nothing that I see there that is wrong, and it's until they come out and prove that they were right in their decision making, it's corrupt. That is my final opinion on it, and I will say no more about it. We look forward to our Thursday night game against Union SG, and we'll take it from there. Willem, any final thoughts before we sign off for the evening and go attend our therapy sessions?
Honestly, I'm looking forward to Thursday. I just want another game. I just want this to get behind. I want to forget about it more in the sense of I just want to see us play again, not in the sense of let's forget about it and put it behind us, because I don't think what will eventually happen now, which is Simon Hooper and Darren England are going to get a week suspension and the international break happens and everyone forgets about it, which is unfortunately inevitably what's going to happen. That's not the part I want to forget about, but I do want to forget just about the misery we got put through yesterday. Honestly, because I as much as I'm a lot calmer about it now, I was broken yesterday. I genuinely I went to bed after a game. I couldn't be bothered. I had a whole night out planned. I was going to go with my mates, going to do the whole. I went to bed. I was like, screw this. I'm not going to get through this night anymore tonight. I can't be bothered. So more in the sense, I just want to see us play again with joy. I don't even care if it's a scrappy 2-1 or a 3-2 or whatever. I just want to see us play some good football, enjoy the game. And then on to Brighton next Saturday. At the end of the day, the performance was super positive still because there was nothing we could do about it. It was us against the refs at the end of the day. And just for this game, I'm not saying we got to put on this whole agenda now. It's always us against the refs and blah, blah, blah. No, just this last game was a disgrace. And I just want to the part of it being a disgrace and the part of us not getting what we should have gotten from it is what I want to look past on. I do definitely think we should dwell on the issues that are going on with the referees and with VAR. And for the rest, I just want to enjoy this team because honestly, we look like we have such a good team coming out. The sky's the limit for this team. So that's all I'm really going to take to it. Bring on everyone because we'll take them. And yeah, that's it really. So I'm still leaving on a positive on it. I still think we're going to have an amazing season still, but this was a shocker. That was really it.
It really was. It really was a shocker. And I'll get to a couple of points here, and then Neil, I'll leave the last comments of the stream for yourself. Wild and Red asked thoughts on a possible replay. It's on Spurs' plate. Whether or not they want to do it, it's on them. They have to say they want to replay, and that ain't fucking happening.
No.
And that goes to your point as well, Justin, here where you say LFC should appeal and we get to do a replay. It only becomes a replay if Spurs say. Rondo, we play them on May 4th, so pencil that into your calendar. We play them again on May 4th. We've got to wait and sit and fester on this for 8 goddamn months. So I can't wait to absolutely see Darwin Núñez twat a hat-trick past them. I cannot wait. It's going to be fantastic. Neil, I leave the final thoughts of the stream with yourself. Just vent. Go for it.
No, I think whatever we do off field now needs to remain off field as to the challenge that the club are going to put forward with the PGMOL. I think we've had a really good start to the season. Yesterday, circumstances went against us. I think it's really important that we get back on the pitch on Thursday and get a victory, but more importantly, that we get 3 points at Brighton next weekend, because I think that would have been from a relatively tough start. We've had some tough fixtures. We will be at worst case 2 points off the top of the Premier League, which with some what you would consider more favourable looking fixtures to come. So let's use this to spur us on, bit of a siege mentality, and get the 2 wins before the international break, and then we can go again after the international break. 2 positive bits of news to finish on. The under-21s beat Crystal Palace 4-2 today.
Fantastic.
Goals from the Polish Messi, Mateusz Musialowski, Paul Glatzel, and 2 from Louis Kumas. And Liverpool's women had a brilliant result. They beat Arsenal at the Emirates Stadium in front of a Premier League record crowd of 54,000. So they won 1-0. Miri Taylor scored. It was a fantastic result. Arsenal expected to be right up there. So well done to the under-21s and Liverpool's women's team.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic to see 54,000 people at a women's game. I just made a comment about this a couple of weeks ago to my girlfriend. We were in a pub in town at that the Irish women's national team were playing the Northern Irish women's national team, and it was in the Aviva Stadium in Dublin, where we'll be in May. You can book the hotel. There was 34,000 people at an international game. The 36, apologies, highest amount ever at a women's international game for Ireland. That's absolutely fantastic to see, and I hope people keep supporting it, and it'll be amazing to go forward. Positive news to end on for all of our Reds fans. We have been playing with 10 men twice, 9 men once, and we are still only 2 points off the top of the table. Stick that down your fucking throat. We're coming. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope everybody has a wonderful Sunday evening. I'm going to go watch some NFL now and watch some proper football. You can throw your hate in the comments. We'll see you guys tomorrow at 7:30 again. We'll see you guys all throughout the week at 7:30, and we have a post-game stream on Thursday for the match against Union SG, and again on Sunday against the Brighton match at 2 o'clock in the day. There'll be a post-match stream around 5 o'clock mark there, and we'll have our regular 7:30 stream that night as well. Thank you so much, guys. Just to call out as well, thank you so much for Jen for the £10 and for being a member for the past 13 months. I don't know how you do it. I've lost 7 years off my life supporting this team in the past 3 months alone, but we move. Thank you so much, guys, and I hope you have a wonderful evening.